Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. How y'all doing out there, man? I know it's a lot going on, and I told y'all. Stop me when I'm lying. At any point in time, stop me when I'm lying. But didn't I tell y'all was gonna hear some wild and crazy stuff this week? Didn't I tell y'all was gonna hear some wild and crazy stories, some wild and crazy narratives, some absurdities? I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. And my biggest thing right now here lately in the last couple of days is like people really trying to insult your intelligence. Isn't that something when people really try to insult your intelligence? So I said, man, I'm gonna take a pivot from the gaslighting, because I harp on that all the time, all day, every day. And I think I've laid down a track to where, you know, you pretty much can spot that. You don't get triggered by that. You know, you can see that coming, so your blood pressure don't get so high. And I think that what I've instilled in a lot of people listening to the videos kind of can help with the spotting of gaslighting. But what is a synonym for when somebody insults your intelligence? Brainless, deficient, dense, doltish, dumb, empty-headed, foolish, half-witted, idiotic, imbecilic, inane, meaningless, mindless, moronic, pointless, senseless, simple-minded, slow, thick-headed, unthinking, witless. That's all I can think about. That's really all I can think about, man, when I'm this week, when I've been hearing all these things that I've been hearing. Like, I'm like, all of a sudden. Come on, son. All of a sudden, S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz can actually see Subriel Matias. I told y'all this was gonna happen. Just like I told y'all Liam Paro was gonna get, his resume was gonna get trashed, his value was gonna get trashed. Just like I told you Frank Martin, his resume was gonna get trashed, his value was gonna get trashed. I be trying to tell y'all, this is the fruits and veggies channel. What you gotta understand about this here is it might not be there all the time when you want it. It might not. But guess what? It's always on time. It's always on time. Like, we always on schedule. Why? Because I don't let what people are doing in real time really affect what I got going on. How I see the sport. I don't let it like dissuade me or knock me off my pivot. I always stand on my own too. But this is the recency bias. But before I come out and I hit these topics, because I know it's a little late, but before I come out and hit these topics, like what I'm seeing now, man, it's a level of arrogance online. It's a level of arrogance to where we're actually getting our content from, to where it's like so many of us have the God complex. And I sit back in my everyday life and I'm like, man, that's the problem with us, man. Some people don't know how to say, I don't know. Nah, I'm not sure. Because they as men, they look at it as a sign of weakness. I think it's a sign of strength when you can actually stand in virtue. Stand on something. You know, when you see people and nobody ever around, they always have all these absolutes. They always have all these things they actually have to say, and that they're always right. No matter what. It's all, no, you You misinterpreted me. No, you got me this. Oh no, you're dumb. You're this. You're that. Like, when they have nobody around them that can really check them, that's really a problem for me. That raises a red flag. And what is that a part of? It's called intelligence arrogance. Yeah. When you suffer from arrogance, intelligence, can't nobody tell you anything. You know, I hate to say it, but Tim Tszyu, man, he kind of suffered from a little arrogance, man. I can't help but, and I heard a lot of people crying this week, and I actually like Tim Tszyu. I love the spirit of Tim Tszyu behind it. I like the fact he was pursuing Jermell Charlo. I hate the current disrespect with Jermell Charlo, but he was on a run. He was chasing Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo said, hey, I'm gonna get this back. I'm gonna move up. I'm gonna dare to be great. And just like Canelo Alvarez, he dared to be great. And I'm not ashamed to say that, even though Jermell Charlo is my guy. But I always gotta keep it all the way funky with you, you know? And it's a lot of weird behavior in the sport of boxing. Everywhere you go, everywhere you get your content, it's getting kind of weird. You know, I'm gonna say this, man. I actually just came around full circle, and I tried to give this guy so many tries. Cause I said, you know what, my channel might be a cross of two different channels. You know what I'm saying? One that's gonna educate, and then one that's gonna keep it all the way funky. One is a little bit more vulgar than what I would get, you know, online, knowing what this thing is about. One is a little more formal and political than what I would get. So I found myself being somewhere in between. But these two sources are like good cop, bad cop. And it's come full circle. I'm gonna make it all make sense. Just bear with me. But it's come full circle to me that I'm gonna use Frank Martin as an example. When Frank Martin made that decision to not fight Shakur Stevenson for that WBC title shot that he had, where he was gonna make 4 times what he ever made. He was gonna get his first $1 million payday, a shot at a championship title, one in which Shakur Stevenson enacted paperwork. So for all you Bud fans who say, oh no, he's submitting paperwork and he doing this and that's his right and all this, you sound real dumb when you come back and you take up on Shakur Stevenson for enacting paperwork to actually dictate the cost or the price or his wages through a sanctioning body for a belt that Devin Haney was going to drop all along. So yeah, I'm gonna poke some sides. Yeah, I'm gonna make some people uncomfortable. But when I look at the Frank Martin situation and him turning down that Shakur Stevenson situation, I'm still staunching my stance that that was a wrong decision. But the biggest, Devin Haney knee pad wearing, tonsil jewelry rocking, throat coat spraying, tonsil jewelry displaying, fan came out and said, oh man, nah man, Frank, he ain't wrong, he ain't this, he ain't that, you know, all in defense of Frank. And it sounds crazy because I'm a Frank Martin fan. I actually support the dude. You know, what's not to like about Frank? Let's be frank. Let's be frank. What's there not to like about Frank, man? He a cool dude. He a laid back, cool dude. He go to the body, you know, a prerequisite for bodywork boxing is all of the fighters that I rock with, they like to go to the body. Okay. But this is a guy, when I look at his resume, I see that he was not built. This is a guy that was actually developed. And when I heard this big knee pad wearing, tonsil jewelry displaying, throat coat spraying, knee pad wearing Devin Haney fans say that Frank Martin was justified in fighting and not fighting Shakur Stevenson because he wanted a little extra. I'm like, hold on. Only to come around at this point in time, I just seen another video, and I had to say something. I had to say something on one of these videos. I had to actually say something. Why? Because sometimes, man, if people don't got people around them, man, that's going to tell them what it really is and really pull their coattail and really check them. Sometimes, even if you can't check them, even if they ain't going to respect you, you got to sow the seed. You got to say something. The sole purpose of my channel is silence is consent. That means if you don't say anything, you are in total agreement. And I'm going to bring it all home. Relax. Relax. This you late night with Mike. Okay? Relax. Chill out. But I was thinking about, and I listened to a recent video where they ran down Frank Martin's resume. And I said, yeah, Lee. I said, hold on. How you gonna run down Frank Martin's resume, knock him for not fighting the champion, but when he turned down the champion for more than 4 times the amount he ever made and a title shot, you said that he was justified in that. But then you turn around and one of the demerits you give him for why he's not worthy of a tank fight is because he's never fought a champion or a former champion. I'm like, man, like, gaslighting is at a full-time high. Intellectual arrogance is at a full-time high. And it's a lot of people out here, man, that just because they know a little something, they believe that they above everybody. And I don't agree with that. I say, man, we need to put all the boxes on a scale. I say, hey, I recently, this year, I said, man, look, man, if the fighter's not giving what we want as fans, if we're not seeing what we want as fans, I'm not rocking with you. I ain't got nothing for you. What I look like raising the banner, putting up the flag for you, marching forward for you, and you ain't doing nothing for me but taking my money. So if you get in the ring and you ain't 100%, you 75, you 65, you going in there with a real predator, I don't have nothing for you. Especially if you took my money knowing that you got in the ring and you wasn't 100%. And I'm like, geez, it's like I'm in the catch-22s because it's like, man, I'm almost at the point where do I want the interviews? But then I'm like, man, there's so much to criticize because in all these recent interviews, even the people I rock with, the person that they're interviewing has been telling them, no, make this about me. Like, no, this is about me. This is not about such and such. Make this about me. It's like, is it hate when I criticize them? And when it comes to this whole YouTube online thing, guess what? It's a competitive sport. That means if you dip your toe in the water and I'm a shark in the water or alligator, I'm gonna snap that big toe clean off. If I can get an ankle, I'm grabbing it. This is a competitive sport. If you online, you doing content, we all competitors. If I can't cry about somebody biting my style and using my stuff and remixing my points and all that, then hey, you can't cry about me checking you for some stuff that ain't quite right. But I realized today, that same knee pad wearing Devin Haney fan that be putting in tonsil jewelry, throat coat, all of that, had the audacity to come on and say that Devin Haney is actually getting sabotaged in his fight with Ryan Garcia. Like, how you getting sabotaged with your fight with Ryan Garcia? How? We already knew that was April Fools. Like, what are you talking about, you fool? Sabotaged? You know, Devin Haney kicked it off when he called the man a cokehead. Then Ryan started playing the part, and then Ryan said, hey, 99% of the stuff that I'm doing, I'm trolling. Then he actually made a way for him to say some stuff that probably been weighing heavy on his heart when he first found out about it. He found a way to say it, and everybody talking about the CON conspiracies and all that. But this man had the audacity to come out and say that Devin Haney is being sabotaged. They came on and said that those tickets are $80. I'm like, who the fuck? I mean, it's like, dang, man, Devin, you are really twisting my arm, man. You gonna sit up here and do a deal to where I gotta pay $80 just to see you fight. And the only reason why I want to see you fight is because I want to be able to be right and exact. Because I don't call fights off for no highlights. But you twisted my arm when that same knee pad wearing, throat coat spraying, tonsil jewelry displaying, Kevlar knee pad wearing fan came out when Tank fought Ryan Garcia. He was boycotting. Came out and said, oh, no, I'm not buying it. Even though all of the money they got off of Tank videos would be, man, they could pay for a fleet of people to go to a Tank Davis fight. Not a Devin Haney fight. A Tank Davis fight as far as the money goes. They came on and boycotted Tank Davis when it was Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. Only to come out and say that right now Devin Haney is being sabotaged by old media and they just don't want Devin Haney to exceed. It's like, man, shut that shit up. Like, what are you talking about, Holmes? Like, I really thought that, at least I thought you had a bag of nuts. Now I'm like, not so much. It really comes down to intellectual arrogance. And I hate arrogant people, man. I really do. I hate arrogant people. Like, I know that being humble is having a value of low self-worth. Basically, you don't see much in yourself. I don't see myself as being humble. I'm humble in the general sense, but I know my self-worth ain't low. It's just that I think humble and meek meek is strength under control. Like, when you know what you got, when you know you got that boom pow, ping pow, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, throwing some hands ain't nothing, because I got that boom ping pow. I walk around like that in life. It's like, man, nothing is, it's never not nothing no more. But here's where the concept of intellectual arrogance comes in. This term refers to a state and frame of mind where an individual considers his or her intellect to be superior to others. His or her knowledge cannot be challenged, and he or she judges others based on their intellect. Like, you ever judge something based on what you knew, only to come to find out that you ain't know shit about shit? And a lot of people don't know shit about boxing. But when I actually heard this recent echoing of a S.I.C Pitbull Cruz, I heard, man, and with all due respect, because outside of my old head, when it came down to no way anyway, Andre Rozier was like the only person I ever heard that made me stop dead in my tracks and say, you know what? I gotta catch up on anyway. So outside of my old head telling me and me seeing the film, when I heard Andre Rozier say this statement, I was like, let me pump my brakes. Let me go back and look at this guy, because if he talking about him like that, because that's how much I respect Andre Rozier. Andre Rozier recently came out and basically stated that Subriel Matias is last in the 140-pound division. He said, obviously, Devin Haney, then Teofimo, then S.I.C Cruz, and then Subriel Matias. And when he was asked about Subriel Matias and S.I.C Pitbull Cruz, he said, he basically commented on the fact that, in my words, in layman terms, He basically said that Subriel Matias get hit too much. He called him I forgot what name, Canvas Face Cunningham or some kind of CCC type name he gave him, or moniker he gave him, alluding to the fact that he gets hit too much. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine and dandy. I said that too. I said, look, if Subriel Matias want to have any longevity in the sport, yes, he does have to clean up some things on defense, because if he's dealing with somebody like a Gary Antoine Russell or Javante Tank Davis, somebody with any kind of like lights out power that can really put your lights out. Don't take it from me. Look at a recent interview from Michael Fox when he said, hey, he thought Tank Davis like put his lights out, like he felt his lights get dim. That's not me. I'm not on the joystick. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that Diddy stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't go to the pools. I'm not into the parties. But when I think about it, I'm like, man, if Andre Rozier is actually talking like this for a guy like S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz, first, I had to look at myself, because whenever somebody that I highly respect say something I totally contradict what I think and what I feel, I be looking at myself like, man, Mike, you don't know shit about boxing. I'm like, yeah, I do, man. Like, hold on. Let's look at this. Let's look at this rationale. Let's reason this. Like, do he have a point? Is there any legitimacy? I'm like, well, do he have a point? I'm like, he fought Rolly Ramirez. When Rolly Ramirez had a title that he don't deserve to have because of the gift stoppage, he didn't even deserve a shot to be able to move up after having get knocked out, even tasting it. And when I was actually pointing this out, everybody was saying, oh man, you a hater, because I was saying, do belts matter? And I was saying, man, belts don't matter. Why? Because everybody gives Devin Haney all the credit for actually fighting one time and getting undisputed. I don't care how you want to paint it, sugar coated. You can put cotton candy all around it. You can sprinkle some apple sugar, whatever you want to put on it. Sugar cane, dress it up. The man fought one time to get undisputed. That pales in comparison to what Jermell Charlo did at 154 to get undisputed. That pales in comparison to what Errol Spence did, even though he didn't get undisputed. He got 3 belts at 147 when didn't nobody want to fight him. But recency bias, along with YouTube. And I'm gonna say something else, man. And I don't really care about monetization. I was trying to do it the right way to where monetization works and all that. I got a couple people, Champion Sports Boxing, Arnaldo Nieves, they keep the lights on. They're members. So until I lose members and stuff like that, that's what's keeping the lights on here. But I say, you know what? If I can't really be myself, if I got to edit myself and not curse and not do this and not smoke and do all the things that I do when I'm just talking boxing, like everybody else, I can't believe that it is what it is. They can say whatever they want. They can say all kind of, they could curse, they could do all this and whatever. And I'm like, dang, they channel still monetized. They still get bread. But I got to be all political and toe the line and check this block and jump through this hoop and be all political about this and do all that. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm just going to talk boxing. And for a second, I was just like, man, I was back in my mood to where, man, people that's talking about boxing, the biggest, loudest voices concerning boxing really didn't make any sense. I saw that it was narrative driven. I saw that it was all about protection. I saw that it's all biased and skewed. Like some of the points that's being made, even the points that's being made right now about Bud Crawford, even the whole Crawford Spence thing, like it's really getting on my nerves, because the Crawford Spence fight was a black cloud over everybody's head. I don't care who you were. I don't care where you were on the totem pole. I don't care how you viewed it. That was a black cloud over everybody's head, man. It did not have to be that way. But people keep having amnesia. It was people that was they were in full blown, they were in concert in support of Terrence Bud Crawford, walking away from Errol Spence and going to fight David Evanesian. I said, Mike, let me grow up, because I was calling him David Polynesian, and I was being disrespectful, but I said, you know what? That's a level of my game when I talk about sports, because they do actually get hit in the head for a living. They do get in there with some killers. I said, man, you got to show a little bit more respect. But I'm like, where was all this patriotism when Bud left Earl at the altar? I felt the same way when Canelo Alvarez left Caleb Plant at the altar to go fight somebody else. But that's the difference between my channel and their channel. It's like these other channels. It's like, look, I'm not in here begging for no super chat. I'm not in here asking you to hit the Cash App. The Cash App option is there, because if you recognize the work and you know what it takes to bring concert, you're going to hit it. You're going to hit the super chat. I'm not here for that. This is something that I want to grow and something I build, and what I pride myself on is that I have not had to change ever since I ever got my channel. But I'm so beyond somebody not being able to pull my coattail when I'm wrong. That's why I always say, stop me if I'm lying. I always say, if you a subscriber, check me if I'm wrong. Tell me when I'm off. I'm not one of these people that suffer from this God complex. But I also have a memory like an elephant. I'm very detail oriented. There's nothing I don't pay attention to. I'm obsessed with numbers. I'm a perfectionist. There's so many attributes that I can give myself. But it's not about me. This is about the sport of boxing and the preservation of boxing. That's why I'm always here, planting a stake in the ground, raising the flag for those individuals who are acting as boxers that's going to actually preserve the sport. But we can't act like we didn't see S.I.C. Pitbull Cruz against Cabrera. How Cabrera was just spinning him and turning him however way he wanted, because he actually had footwork. He had a check hook. Like, come on, man. Like, to sit up here and act like Subriel Matias is in the back of the line behind Devin. If that was the case, because everybody's always talking, and this is where it comes, because you'll have other content creators who want to get down the knob slob in some kind of way. Oh, I'm not going to take and use their video. I'm not going to take and use their interview. I'm not going to, because I would never take. But when they decide that they want to take and use that shit, then it's okay. I'm not with that shit. Where are we getting the sources from? Where are we getting the information from? It's only certain select people that's getting the interviews. It's not my fault that y'all dumbasses don't get what I get out of it. It's not my fault y'all be trying to catch people all up, trying to catch them saying something that ain't right, trying to catch him, trying to expose and do all this. I'm like, man, that's just like the dumbest shit ever when you interviewing a boxer. It's like, man, you should be trying to get the message out that the boxer want to get out. Why? So the boxer will come out and get his message out. Whenever you want to get a message out, he'll use you to get it out. Because all the salationists, all of the ghetto-ness, all of the ghetto fab stuff, all of the crazy, stupid, dumb shit that we do online, it don't equate, for the ones that's doing it, it don't equate to the likes, click. It might equate to, yeah, I'm sorry. It might equate to likes, clicks, and views on YouTube. But it does nothing for the sport of boxing. Anybody buying them tickets? And when you look at Bud, and you got to go back to go back to one of the first couple videos I did this year when I was talking about the top 5 toxic fan bases in boxing. Who did I say was number 1? Devin Haney. Who did I say was number 2? Bud Crawford. What predicament are they in right now? You can't pay somebody to buy a ticket to Devin and Ryan right now. Why? Because they bankrupted it. They ripped the equity out of it. You can't pay a promoter to actually get with Bud. Why? He dropped the mic on Bob. And said, hey, man, I'm suing you, man. You couldn't give me the good fight. Dropped the mic. When he dropped the mic, Eddie Hearn came out and said, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Never made an offer. Oscar De La Hoya, just for publicity and all that, because he know how promotion works, playing chess. He used Terrence Crawford to play chess, offering up or thinking about some kind of Alexis Rocha fight. And everybody was all for it. Everybody, oh, man, yeah, man, he could fight Alexis Rocha. I'm like, but that's not legacy. But he left Earl at the altar. And so now we got all these recency bias people because Terrence Bud Crawford beat Errol Spence. Now they have this recency bias to where the victory erases the history. But I'm like, stop it. This is not a mystery. Listen, what you do right now don't change what you did in the past. I don't care. You think just because, like when Jeffrey Dahmer, he came out and he ate all them people, he had assholes and elbows and all that other kind of shit in his fridge. You think because he stepped foot inside of the pen and he said a couple Hail Marys and Jesus forgive me and dipped his toe in the water that all was forgiven? Life don't work like that. I'm sorry. Now, I know this is not going to get the congregation jumping for joy, man. But this recency bias shit, we got to stop it. We really do. Like, we're getting out of control. I was surprised when I was over there on the Boxing Voice, even though I got timed out by Danny, because I told Danny, I said, oh, man, you got to protect the D. Hunt Danny at all costs. And my next comment was, look, I'm about to fight for the 80, but that's only because I want to support them two young brothers. This is not because I think that it's worth it, because it is not worth it. It's only because I do content. I do not give any kind of insight or any kind of analysis based on any kind of highlights. If it's a fight that I just utterly just like, man, no. It was a fight. Was it last year or the year before last? Well, I said, look, it's a fight coming up. I'm not going to support it. I didn't say who it was, what it was. You know, it did cost money. And I just didn't buy it. But I didn't advertise that I was going to actually boycott it. That's way different than, this is what I be trying to say, man. If we do not stand on any kind of principles when it comes to boxing, do you know boxing is going to die? It's going to die. Look at YouTube. Look at novelty boxing. Look at all this like weird expedition fight type stuff. Look at what's going on with the sport of boxing, man. But I don't know. People have a lot of audacity, man. I think that they cojones, man. They got 5-gallon cojones, man. Where they can come out and when Tank was fighting Ryan, they're coming out saying they boycotting it. I remember when Jermell Charlo on Juneteenth, they came out and boycotted Jermell Charlo on Juneteenth. This is after him and his brother got the key to the city. Where was the celebration in? You know what all the complaint was when they did that Juneteenth and they did all that? They said, oh man, like, why? What kind of card is this? Like, where's the other fighters and all this? It's like, well, dang, what did you want, man? If it was Juneteenth, did you want they scheduled it to where it was like pretty much black versus Mexican? That's the green print. How you gonna get offensive about that? But no, people were coming out doing videos boycotting the fight, actually coming out saying I'm not buying this fight. When Tank fought Ryan, people were saying I am not buying this fight. These same pussy clots are coming out right now and talking about, oh, they're trying to sabotage Devin, and I don't know what the hate is coming from. It's like, man, y'all ran around and shat on thousands of boxers. Thousands. Y'all shat. Well, let's reduce that. Tens of boxers. Let's say tens, but when you're in a division, in a stacked division, if I say, man, you done shat on 10 boxers solid, I can name 10 boxers solid that you done shat on, lied on, ruined their reputation, downtrodden, pulled them down, did some foul stuff to attach yourself to their name. I can name at least 10 boxers y'all did it to. And now y'all on here crying, talking about pay-per-views and why this and that. Oh, man, just support. But then in the same breath, turn around and say that you the face of boxing. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Like, this is what the problem is. It's like, we be thinking we got OGs, and it's all, yeah, oh, man, you can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. It's free enterprise. It's online. It's like, yes, but you got to go at night. You got to be able to look in the mirror. You got to be able to sleep at night. And I realize some of y'all, I'm telling you, outside of YouTube, outside of online, outside of some computer shit, you need a dome shot. And that's all it will ever be. Because you abandon all reasoning. Like, you can't run around passing out mug shots, calling people monkeys, being all disrespectful, even talking about people's sexuality. Like, you ran around, you questioned Bernard Hopkins' sexuality, and when he ran up on you in a public venue, it was like, what's up, bumped you, asked you politely, hey, let's go behind where ain't no cameras at, let's go handle some business like some men. No Diddy, you wasn't with it. Now you crying. Now you whining. Now it's woe is me, and everybody's up. No, man, y'all, you and your fans and all your people that propagate all this BS, the ones that want to bang the gavel on everybody else, the ones that want to be so hypercritical of everybody else. Like, I was waiting for everybody to get roasted today when they were saying that the pay-per-view was like $80 and the undercard wasn't even announced, but I didn't hear the same roasting. I didn't hear the same spiciness that comes down when somebody actually fight Tank. Now Tank ain't fighting nobody, and that's still the nerve. It's like, man, if you want to get popping, I'm gonna tell you how to get popping. How to get popping is not to say the same stuff that everybody else is saying, especially when you come out and you say some dumb shit like Tank ain't fighting nobody. Well, if Tank ain't fighting nobody, that means Devin Haney ain't fighting nobody this fight. That means that even when you go to 47, if you trying to face a Mario Barrios, whoever fight Mario, that ain't nobody. Now all of a sudden, S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz can just come up, get a belt, slap Roy to sleep, and now he's better than Subriel Matias. It's like, stop it. Stop it, dog. And I respect a lot of y'all. I mean, you might have laced up the glove, trained people and all this, but like, man, come on. Come on, man. We all know there's a lot of tribalism in boxing. We all know that there's people that's going to ride, like people that just hate the PBC, people that just hate Al Heyman. We know what TBV is. It's a bunch of Dominicans, and I hate to say it because a lot of Puerto Ricans rock with me, but we all know that that's a racist-ass channel. It's a racist-ass channel. And I know, because every time I offend them, guess what they do? They get a couple darkies up there. One of the darkies I used to work with. And I'm not cutting no cards no more. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. You have a darkie up there who can't get his tongue out of his mouth, talk with a lisp. That shit sounds disgusting whenever he talk. Then you got another dude that he just ain't got no character. He ain't got no backbone. Y'all birds of a feather flocking together. I don't give a... Because I'm going to shit on you. Regardless of the whoever. Whoever. Like, we need to stop it. Ain't no accountability, dog. Like, and I used to try to be that guy. I used to be like, man, damn, I got to say something to my man because, shit, I rock with my man. You know what I'm saying? But, like, man, once you get outside of where can't nobody tell you shit and you always right and you always doing this bullshit and there's always somebody coming up against you and you always some kind of victim, it's like, stop it. I told y'all earlier this week, I said, listen, you're going to hear a lot of dumb shit this week. There's going to be a lot of dumb shit going on this week. People are going to be saying a whole lot of dumb shit that don't make no sense. That, like, when I heard the dude say, Frank Martin, that, oh, skill wise, yeah, he's better than whatever, but resume wise, he ain't. I'm like, well, what is it all about the ranking system? When your guy is foregoing facing a mandatory in Sandor Martin, your guy is foregoing facing a unification in Subriel Matias, a unification in Teofimo Lopez, to go fight Ryan, who is ranked lower than a guy that's fighting on your undercard. Like, where do they do that at? But they'll try to gaslight you and make it seem like something wrong with you. Like, nah, homie, ain't nothing wrong with me. Y'all niggas is just dumb as fuck. And you got people that, because you in cahoots with, they ain't gonna say nothing with, yeah, they'll step all on your toes, but they ain't got the cojones to actually come down and tell you, you wrong, nigga. You wrong. So I'm not even gonna lie, man. I can't wait for Devin Haney and them to get punched in the face. Like that shit when he got hit in the head with a bottle, I ain't had shit to do with that, but since I didn't have anything to do with that, and the fan did that, that lets you know how fans really feel about these people. I can't wait for one of them motherfuckers to get cracked in the head with a bottle. I can't wait for them motherfuckers to get punched in the face. I can't wait for somebody to run up on them and let them know that, hey, man, what y'all doing is not right. Why? Because if everybody acted like y'all, it would be like the Wild Wild West everywhere. We know where it's the Wild Wild West at, but y'all are bringing that into the sport of boxing, where it should be to where whatever you do inside of the ring should speak for you. But in the gaslighting essence of things, they'll let you believe that somebody like Tank Davis, who always get rid of his opponent, who always uses boxing IQ to actually end the show, that he's scared of somebody that couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. You can hear recorded video where somebody's father actually says, oh man, we always counted the joy. We had any kind of success against Shakur, we knew it was a victory. We always knew that if we ever got high at 30, we ready to go to 40, bro. They will dismiss all of that. It's just like the Bud fans who, when Bud came out and said, man, the UK fans are better than the United States fans, the American fans. The same Bud that said, hey, if I don't do Undisputed, will it hurt my legacy? No. But maybe the rest of the 147 division will. The same Bud that said, man, we didn't want the rematch at 147. Nah, man, no, we only wanted the rematch if it was at 147. Or even before that, first, let's start over. First, they said no rematch. It ain't worth no rematch. I'm like, I've never heard nothing like that. If it's in the contract for a rematch must be had. They were saying no rematch. Then when it came up, they were saying, oh no, if it's going to be a rematch, it's going to be at 47, even though they had verbally said it was going to be at 54. They negated all of that. Time went by. They realized this man was going to be hard to deal with, just like last time. Just like when he dipped out and went and got amnesia. They said, oh, okay, cool. Earl was like, well, shit, I'm going to go ahead and have this surgery then. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you had the surgery to repair yourself and all this. You don't want the rematch. Y'all didn't want the rematch. That's gaslighting. Acting like something that happened didn't happen. That's gaslighting, cuz. Now we got some 50-something-year-old men who don't even know the news, that get up early in the morning, all belligerent and all crazy, acting like they don't give a fuck, acting like they tough as nails, all in the love of Bud. It's like, man, stop that bullshit. Now it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is not right and that's not fair. And now you're talking about sabotage with, let's like, stop it, y'all. Stop it, y'all. The reason why y'all are slipping is because you live your life on a slippery slope. And a lot of people will say whatever they need to say for a political reason. That's just like this bullshit, man. I'm gonna tell y'all what it's gonna look like. If Subriel Matias ever get in the ring with S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz, especially if it's before he goes through the gauntlet of a Kenny Sims Jr., a Gary Antoine Russell, or maybe a rematch to one of these other guys, one of these undefeated guys that once they get back, they work themselves back up to the top. If he don't go through that first before he see a S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz, I'm gonna tell y'all what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look like a Predator. Y'all remember on the movie Predator? I don't know if y'all seen them all, but I seen them all. I'm on the Prey edition, and this will be a Prey edition. If Subriel Matias ever grab a hold of little S.I.C, Pitbull, Poodle, Cruz, it's gonna look like one of them Predators when they actually pulled out that blade on their forearm, and it was just like, yeah, and Pitbull was done. Let's stop the madness, y'all. Rolly didn't deserve a belt. We knew the old man should have had a belt. We knew he shouldn't even had an opportunity to move up and actually get a belt. That's why I'm not even with the whole shit about Earl coming up and getting a belt at getting a shot at 2 belts and all. Like, stop it, man. Stop it. That's the thing with me though. I've always been consistent in everything. I don't give a fuck who it is doing it. I've always been consistent. These other people can't do it. And I'm just being real with you. I humbled myself. I said, you know what, man? I was looking for smoke. I was looking for heat. I was running around basically like baiting people, saying, you know, this and that. I said, you know what? I ain't got to bait nobody. I know where I stand on. I know what it's on. I said, you know what? Look, somebody told me, oh man, your numbers ain't good enough. You can't be criticizing me in my debate because you don't have anything good to get your numbers up. I got to start getting my numbers up. I said, you know what? I'm B-side shorty. If you A-side, send the contract. I didn't get nothing. Even though they flip-flop. I'm still here. I could do a way back Wednesdays. I could do a throwback Thursdays. I could be a flashback Fridays. I can do all that and show you where I stood 2, 3, 4 years ago on this with real video in real time, and I have not changed. That's why the channel was gold. But I'm like, man, y'all are not going to insult my intelligence. You're not. Because let me pull your coattail to something. I find it real strange that now that S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz actually beat Rolly Romero. Because think about it. Before Subriel Matias actually signed that deal with Matchroom, he was with PBC. Well, who was S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz affiliated with? PBC. So if you had the gumption and the fortitude and the cojones to actually move up to 140 and you knew that that was something that you were willing to do, when Subriel Matias was actually looking for a fight, why you ain't put your name in the hat to move up and see Subriel Matias for his belt? Oh, it was just real convenient that when Subriel Matias went over there to Matchroom, your nuts dropped. Your nuts dropped, Isaac. And you decided, oh yeah, because your nuts didn't drop when Shakur Stevenson sent you an offer and was like, oh yeah, you can get this WBC. You can get this vacant WBC at 135. And oh nah, man, I want something bigger and better. It's like, no, you saw food. Rolly was seafood, y'all. But I don't know how, was it like 5 undefeated opponents? The same guys that would actually knock the socks off of a lot of these guys because they are balls to the wall type guys. You don't know what kind of training, what kind of guerrilla warfare. You don't know what these guys go through. When you look at what Bullcheck did to Brian Mendoza after Brian Mendoza actually fought Tim Tszyu in the fashion that he fought, you don't know what these guys in these other kind of countries, what they going through. But if you look at Subriel Matias' last 5 opponents, any one of them will slap Rolly to sleep. Stop me when I'm lying. But I'm not gonna be on no bandwagon. And I know it might sound like disrespect only because I differ in your opinion, but I don't give a fuck if you done put on gloves. That shit is starting to get old. Just because you fought and you do this, that don't mean that when you say stuff, you ain't got a hidden agenda behind what you got to say. Like, come on now. I might not have never laced up no pair of gloves, But I can tell you every single solitary time that Tim Bradley been on that bullshit. It's just because you want to toe the line and flip-flop the fence and massage Tim's balls, you know, pat Tim on the head every now and again. That don't mean that Tim and all them motherfuckers over at Pro Box from Algeria and all them dudes, Malinaji, like all them dudes be full of shit at times. Because it's a political agenda. They company people. But if you can't see through that, that's your fault. And their intellectual intelligence. Anytime somebody has intellectual intelligence who's actually laced up the gloves, or actually look at a video of mine and spit that shit verbatim, I don't give a fuck what you got to say if you taking my shit. And I can prove it. Like, let's stop playing politics. Let's stop being real about the sport, man. And I don't know why these guys with these big channels just don't be real. Why? Because at the end of the day, when you're wrong, you have to come back and apologize or say, I was wrong, or, oh yeah, that was just my guy and I had to do it. It's like, just say it up front then. But don't do it under the guise that you're doing everything and you're saying everything and you're being unbiased and you're just so true to the sport and you just want to be so even. Like, because you're not. You're racist. Them Dominican people over there, they racist, dog. They racist. And as much as they always fool me because they look like us, they talk like us, they sound like us, they be doing all this kind of stuff and they do all these things and it's like, oh man, they so cool. Yeah, they work hard. I give the one the credit. I say he's the hardest working man in boxing. He's a racist. And I'm like, how? When you don't really realize that the only difference between me and you is where the boat landed, dog. That's the only difference. They're racist. If they're not racist, they're biased. And everybody has a bias. Like me, I'll tell you my bias. I have a bias with southpaw. So I'm gonna take a southpaw. If I don't know anything, because that's how I fight, I'm gonna take the southpaw. I have a bias for that. I can tell you that. So I'm not hating or doing this and doing that when I come up and all my guys, if you look at my boxers to watch, most of them are southpaw. I still have my orthodox people in there. It is what it is. But my shit ain't biased because I grew up with nobody and do all that and do all this. It's like the more I'm on my channel grows, like, yeah, I would love to sit down and chop it up. Why? Because I'm not going to ask the same questions. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm trying to ask some shit that's like, damn, man, fans probably want to know this. They want to know that. And ain't nothing that's going to get you hemmed up or nothing that people should know. It's just the questions where people ain't going to go. But the more and more time I have the experience with this, it's like, nah, do I even want to get to know? Do I even want to extend myself out to actually get that interview? No. Why? Because then you're compromised. I shouldn't be compromised just because I rock with you. I just did a video about Richards and Hitchens. The move that he made around Subriel Matias when he could have got the shot, I'm not going to deny that. I still rock with Richards and Hitchens. The rumor that they had about Gary Antoine Russell and what he was about to do and how he may have avoided this title shot or whatever, I can't deny that. I can't prove it, but if somebody say, hey, that's what happened, I'm not going to deny it. I still rock with Gary Antoine Russell. When Frank Martin did what he did with Shakur Stevenson and he did not take that deal, I was staunch in my stance. I even grilled the people that interviewed him and said, man, that was a soft touch interview. Y'all let him get away with this. This ain't do nothing for the people, but cause confusion, this and that. I don't agree with it. I still rock with Frank. Even though I rock with Shakur, I rock with Shakur all the way up to the point to where he has to fight Tank. I got Tank. In the discussion. I still rock with Shakur. But when Shakur did what he did with Jamel Herring, I didn't agree with that. And I spoke out about it. I spoke out about Chris Colbert when they was boycotting Chris Colbert. And I stood up the tallest and stood the strongest for him, only for him to come out and basically quit against Hector Garcia. And even though I stood tall for him, I defended him in every way because he just had an opinion on boxing. When he came out and he quit against Hector Garcia, I said something about it. I do that body work. This is not a fly-by-night operation. We got principles and values, and we're not just trying to like, oh yeah, man, oh I don't want to offend Canelo, so I'm not gonna point out the duckery and all that. We don't do all that. Like, you save that to the lawyers and all them that do that shit. That shit is cool, but we don't play no politics. And we're not gonna act like Bud didn't just act a goddamn fool in the negotiations with Spence and all the dumb shit that he did leading up to it. Elite fighter. Every time you see my intro, you see he the closer. That don't negate all that bullshit he did with Spence. Just because Spence got his ass whooped, Spence ain't have no business getting in the ring with him. Not 100%. No excuse. He gave me a new rule. If you ain't 100%, I can rock with you. You ain't 100%, you take my goddamn money. I don't give a fuck about what happened to you. Bud did what he was supposed to do. I still rock with Spence. Why? Because this man went out and got 3 straps in the division. But oh man, they want to victimize me, or they don't want to let me play in any reindeer games. He come right out and say, oh, I don't want no Thurman, I don't want no Garcia, I'm not fighting Boots. I changed my mind on Charlo, and y'all motherfuckers run with it. Not me. No sir. No way, Jose. Recency bias, man. We gotta stop when we actually see a set of fights from the weekend, man. Unless you've been watching for a long term, and if you a casual, I'm not really talking to you, so I don't really care. Like I value the fact that you pay into the sport, because hardcores cannot maintain the sport alone. I think promoters, content creators, everybody, all alike know that hardcores cannot sustain the sport of boxing. So there is a place for casuals. I'm not talking to casuals on my channel. That's not who my shit is addressed towards. My shit is addressed to the hardcores. And if we don't start getting some kind of, this week, what I've seen here this week, we got to get a standard on rematch. Because I see this whole rematch shit, this shit goes, oh, when it came to Devin and Lomachenko, oh, why did he need a rematch? Oh, he did never want to get, but then when it come down to Teofimo and Cambosis, oh man, Teofimo, he ducked that rematch. He didn't want. So why is the standard not the same for Devin? Why wasn't the same when Lomachenko beat Mr. Gary Russell? Why wasn't the standard that Lomachenko had to rematch Mr. Gary Russell? Another standard. People are still getting credit for ducks. Like Lomachenko is getting credit for Tank Davis ducking him when they wasn't even in the same division, when he was calling him out. That's almost like, but then I remember like 2-3 years ago when Mauro Charlo and David Benavidez were jaw-jacking along with each other and they weren't in the same division. Jamal Charlo got pinned for a duck, and they weren't even in the same division. They were just talking smack. And then when Jamal Charlo came out, because he came out on the Mike Tyson broadcast, and he was real kind of candid and kind of limiting what he can say, he came out after the fact, when it was all said and done, I think it was like a year later, he basically said, look, at the point in time when I went on that show, I was in negotiations, and I wasn't at liberty to be able to discuss certain type of things. He still got crucified as being a duck for David Benavidez. Like, Tank Davis, he gets discredited for fighting Ryan Garcia. That was just an exhibition fight, according to DHP. Ryan Garcia was just an underwear model, according to DHP. Ryan Garcia was just a YouTube sensation, according to DHP. We fast forward a year, almost a year to date. Not quite. The fight dates is on, I think it was what, April 16th? And him and Ryan gonna fight on April 20th. I believe those were the dates. We fast forward a year, and we're less than a couple of days away from it, a couple of weeks away from it, and now all of a sudden you're being sabotaged. What changed other than boxing fans? Like, what changed? How was it an exhibition fight when Tank Davis fought him, and now it's just the best fight in the world, and we should buy it and we should support it, and if you don't, then you're not supporting the black brother and the black father and the black family unit and all this other stuff. When they can run around and put up mug shots, call people spooks, monkeys, whatever egregious word you want to use against everybody else, and we should just support. Oh, because at some point in time, your name was the most Googled in this. How does that translate to dollars? Butts and seats. Pay-per-views. They get mad when people say that Devin Haney is not a draw. He's not a draw! Like, if that triggers you or offends you, you have a problem with the truth. He's not a draw. All the wild and crazy shit that Bill Haney say, he's not a draw. Bill Haney is a liar. If that triggers you, oh well. You don't like the truth. He came out and said that Subriel Matias wanted $4 million. And if he never fight him, his whole fans gonna stand firm at the gate, standing guard, fully armed, defending the fact that they think that Subriel Matias really asked for $4 million for that fight. You're a fucking liar. These are the same people that's actually putting up and placing Pitbull Cruz up on this pedestal, and I don't know for the life of me how, at the end of the day, even with everything that's going on, with Devin Haney coming up, moving up, fighting Regis Prograis, who he's had all the advantages over. And we've never seen Regis Prograis do that. That shit was suspect as hell. This is not no conspiracy theory, but for Regis Prograis to not be able to get through and not be able to land his shots when he's been able to do that all of his career, even with Josh Taylor, all of his career, that shit was suspect. I don't care what nobody say. I'm not gonna take away from Devin's victory, and he even got a knockdown, which I salute. He didn't finish the job. He didn't knock him out. He didn't do what his father said he was gonna do. No accountability. Y'all gonna let that slide. But now all of a sudden, Subriel Matias is number 4. Teofimo Lopez getting ready to fight a dude named Steve Claggett. Well, he was saying he wanted a Subriel Matias. He wants somebody that's not going to run. Then when you ask somebody, they say, "Oh man, I got Teofimo just, basically spanking Subriel Matias." How? Oh, you more confident than Teo? That's not the activity. And Teo's one of my guys. I take off for Teo when it comes to Devin Haney, because the truth is the truth and the lie is a lie. But when Teofimo get off on that racist shit and he got all his people doing all this divisive shit, trying to get his people against black people, all that dumb shit that he be doing, all that stupid shit, that whole SMD out the people that supported your fight and watched it and some, do all that. No. Not on my head and tell me it's raining. That's for the DHP members. But all that Tank hating, all this, you just a Tank fanboy and all this, is like, oh yeah, all that shit sound good. But at the end of the day, it's starting to look more and more like the shit that Tank been doing really been legacy. Why? Because you can't say Tank ain't fighting nobody, but then you want everybody, you out here begging for people to pay for Devin versus Ryan, and Devin shouldn't even be fighting Ryan. Why? He's lower. Ryan is ranked lower than the guy that's on the backup, that's going to be on the... How do you have somebody on the undercard that's ranked higher than the opponent you getting ready to fight? That's an indictment on itself. So for all these dick-eating, knee pad wearing, tassel jewelry having, throat coat spraying Devin Haney fans, stop it. Stop crying. You're going to get my money just because it's the principle of it all. It's just like Bud when he fight. He gonna get my money just because of the principle of it all. But to sit up here and try to demonize Errol Spence for doing what's in his capabilities to do, whatever, after Bud showed his ass and was all kind of crazy businessman and doing all this crazy shit and stepping away from the altar to getting undisputed. It's like, where were these people when the business of boxing was for us, the fans, to see undisputed? But you stepped away and left Earl inactive without a fight for more months, negotiating in bad faith. Then you claiming that PBC blackballed you. How did PBC blackball you when you on record basically saying that you didn't want this fight? You didn't want that fight. Bob is on record saying you lost some more money than, I don't even want to give the what he said. And then you drop the mic and say Bob didn't get you this. So what was it? Was it PBC and all them or what? And when you look at the Sean Porter fight, that almost went to purse bid. That actually got done right before the midnight hour. Sean Porter happened to say that he told his daddy that was the only time in training camp that he was not going to do something that he would normally do for his father in training. And they actually, and then Kenny came on and said that he actually talked about throwing in the towel. Can't nobody bring that up and it's all, oh man, you always hating on Bud. Like, no, this is a hardcore channel. If you don't like this hardcore shit, you can skedaddle. What we used to say in the Army, it's tight, but it's right. We used to repel a lot of them helicopters and you have to make your own seat and you cinch down, you do a squat in it and it's tight and it might happen to squeeze the nuts. What we say, it's tight, but it's right. That means, hey, when you jump out that helicopter and you go to do your thing, you're going to be all right. Because your seat is tight. It is what it is, y'all. But we got to stop this recency bias, man. Just because we see some shit on the weekend and we see somebody do some stuff or whatever, it's the same thing I was trying to tell y'all about Tim Tszyu. And I got a little bit of kickback before Tim Tszyu fought. I said, but no, I said, man, if you go back and listen to the lives, and I will do it, if somebody try to challenge me, I will go back to the lives and I say, look, man, we got to kind of question Tim Tszyu, man, because Gaucher, was outboxing him and dropped him. That version of Tony Harrison after he lost his father, going over there doing a press conference without no shirt, that was some weird behavior. We don't know what kind of Tony Harrison. That wasn't the same Tony Harrison that fought Charlo the first time. We don't know what was going on with him. That Brian Mendoza after getting outboxed all that time, coming up slinging that wild overhand right. Some shit that S.I.C. Pitbull Cruz will actually hit the average person if they can't get their head off the line or they don't know how to deal with or anticipate when somebody actually about to throw that. It's the same shit that would happen to anybody in that situation. I was saying we got to look at Tim. Only reason why is like I know that he comes from a pedigree because of his father and what his father did to Zab Judah. I remember I remember the pajamas I had on when I seen that shit happen. That's just me though. But I said he ain't his father, not yet. I respect him. Heart of a champion, heart of a warrior. But then when I heard all this goddamn crying, it was the same thing I be getting on. My only flaw with Gary Antoine Russell is how when he come in, because Gary Antonio actually had the same problem. I don't know what it is about Southpaw and the technique that they use, but when they come in, they kind of come in with the head first. Whenever that happened, that's the same shit that Tim Tszyu had. He not Southpaw, but it's the same shit Tim Tszyu did. He came in with the head. That was self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest. You came in with your head like that and hit that man elbow like that. That man didn't split your shit open. But every narrative is, oh man, if it wasn't for the cut, it would have did this. It would have did that. It's like, no, son. That was self-inflicted. But the fact that, yeah, you was catching his ass. Yeah. You was catching him with them overhand rights. You was catching him. You was catching him. But guess what? As the rounds went on, your corner didn't do the same move that the coach from Van Gundy The Big Van Gundy. When Big Van Gundy was coaching the Orlando Magic, they was facing the LA Lakers. It was a point in time where, at that point in time in the game, it was like seconds left on the clock. I forgot, it was a long time ago. I forgot how long it was. But all Van Gundy had to do when they inbounded the ball was have one of his players foul a guy as soon as they inbound the ball, as long as they was not in the process of shooting a shot behind the three-point line, or maybe even going up for something and getting an and one type situation. As long as they didn't foul in the wrong situation, as long as they fouled as soon as the ball was inbound, they would automatically win the game. Why? Because the other team would need 3 points, and there would never be an opportunity for the other team to actually be able to acquire 3 points. Guess what they do? They let them inbound the ball, and then they give the ball to Derek Fisher behind the 3-point line, and they foul the man on the 3-point attempt. Guess what happened? Orlando loses the game. Decades later, 15 years later, when they go back and they ask Van Gundy that same question, like, oh man, would you go back? Would you change that? Guess what this stubborn ass, dumbass would say? I wouldn't change anything. No, if I could do it all over again, I would do the same thing. And I'm like, yeah, because you're a dumbass. You're a dumbass. You would have won the game, probably would have a championship, the Dwight Howard career, all them people that was over there at that time would have a way much better career. They would actually went down in the record books to actually be one of the best teams ever in the Lakers. But because you got a dumbass coach, you got dumbass people on the side of you that don't know what the fuck they doing, you don't have a championship. And that's what actually happened with the corner of Tim Tszyu. But because of the arrogance and all that, so then in hindsight, we want to feel sorry and all that. Like, no, we don't feel sorry for Tim Tszyu and all that. We don't make excuses for the decisions that the corner in them made. Yes, they could have actually got it where they actually had the game in the bag. They could have even played it to where they could have stopped the fight to where they knew, oh yeah, it looked like it's going downhill. Tim ain't really doing nothing much more. At this point in time, it's already dictated that Tim has already won this fight. They didn't do that. That's their fault. We're not gonna go back and redesign our logic because his corner and what he had going on and how they managed all of that, even though it was self-inflicted by Tim's leading with his head like that. That was self-inflicted. We're not gonna cry them no river. We are real hardcore boxing fans. We're not gonna buy into the narratives and all these things, all these people that have agendas to be able to get paid money, to have people come call in and debate and make money and all that. No, this is hardcore shit. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna say, no, you had a dumbass corner. Y'all didn't have the right product. Y'all didn't take the right procedure to actually stop that blood. Because nobody cried for Beterbiev when he fought through it against Marcus Brown, when Marcus Brown was actually boxing his motherfucking head off, and Beterbiev just turned it on and did what he needed to do and stopped that guy. Nobody made no cry about that. In hindsight, they cried about Tyson Fury and the cut that he had, and oh man, they would have stopped at that point in time. Well, oh well. That was the opponent fault at the point in time. They didn't stop Tyson Fury when he had that vicious ass cut. That was his fault. That was their fault. But then since we online and we looking at it and we got time to look and analyze and do all that, especially me, I got more time than everybody because I don't even have to be first. I want to look and survey and listen and watch and scrutinize every motherfucking thing before I actually make my comments and get down. So it's very rare I'm going to step out and be wrong. Why? Because I don't need to be first. And I don't have to be right. I just got to keep it a buck about what's going on in the sport. But we got to stop this recency bias stuff, man. If y'all seeing S.I.C, Pitbull, Cruz down the Subriel Matias path, which I hope, because I don't condone him against anybody else, because I said, and I'm going to continue to say this, when Subriel Matias went over there to Matchroom and he got with Eddie Hearn and them, it was not my desire for this man just to be doing title defenses. I wanted him to have a unification. So any fight that don't involve a unification with Subriel Matias and somebody else is wrong. Why? He's been in the division the longest. He's already defended it, and he's coming up on his second defense. Think about that. And more people done avoided him than the plague. Stop me when I'm lying. Stop me when I'm lying. It was an hour and 17 before I even looked at any comments, but I had to get all of that out, man. I've been sitting back listening and watching and waiting and thinking, and I'm like, hold on, man, what's going on in the sport? Like, there's no accountability. Like, people can say whatever they want online with no remorse. Like, they'll actually look at you, they'll talk to you, they'll respond to you as if they didn't say some wild shit 2 weeks ago, and when you check them on, it's like, no, I didn't say that. It's like, we got video, cuz. We got video of you boycotting Tank Davis fight, and now you crying about sabotage for Devin Haney. We got video of you shitting on S.I.C Pitbull Cruz, but now because Subriel Matias knocked Devin's dick in the dirt, now S.I.C Pitbull Cruz can beat Subriel Matias. Stop it. Stop it, y'all. Stop it, man. Stop it, man. Now Frank ain't, his skills is all this and all that. And he was right in not fighting Shakur Stevenson because of the money and all this. But now he's wrong in his resume and shit because he ain't fought no champion. Well, he had an opportunity to fight a champion. He's ranked in the top, 7 in 3 of the sanctioning bodies to come up. So now he's not ready to fight a Tank Davis. But Ryan Garcia is worthy to fight a Devin Haney, where Arnold Barbosa been in the division for like 10 motherfucking years and ain't fought nobody. Well, he got a resume. We're not gonna do that, y'all. We're not gonna do that, man. Like, it's people out here that I don't give a fuck about the cash apps, the super chat. I don't care. This is to put a stake in the ground, to raise the flag, and to keep it a buck about what's going on in boxing, y'all. This shit is April Fool's. I told y'all at the beginning of the year that they had the worst. Devin Haney got the worst fan base. I said Bud Crawford and them, the second worst fan base. I called it. You can't sow seeds and then not want to reap the harvest of the seeds that you sow. Oh no. And you know, I'm way behind, man. It was like, what? It's like 44 comments in here, but I appreciate everybody in here. Angelina, salute Bodywork, salute Angelina. Cokie, salute Cokie. We in the building. Bodywork Boxing, Jose Rodriguez, salute. Pitbull too small, way too small. I'm like, he don't even got the dimensions for a 140 pounder. Gary Antoine Russell, man, he would, that shit to look. You ever seen a Rottweiler bite down on the poodle? Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Negrassi, salute. Bodywork, salute. People get caught up in the moment. The Pitbull hype would die down. I like Pitbull, but come on, he just be rolling. Exactly. Exactly. It's like, man, stop it. Y'all ain't gotta go all above and beyond like that. The bias is real for no reason. Salute, Negrassi. Yeah, we speaking that truth. Salute. I'm at work, but I'm hearing the content. Yeah. You know, I had to come back out. It was bothering me. I was trying to hold out. I said, man, I don't want to be reactive, but I said, man, I gotta say something to this. Because it's like, I'm only catering to what matters in boxing now. I don't even care. That whole card is garbage. Ain't nobody paying $80. That's what I said. Then trying to guilt shame somebody. Y'all just now coming out with the undercard. Nobody knew what the undercard was, and then the way Ryan was acting, the way Devin kicked it off, the fact that he picked Ryan out of everybody else when he's supposed to be a legacy fighter. If it wasn't legacy when Tank fought him, if it wasn't good for the money when Tank fought him, how was it all different when you fight him? I'm not paying for that, man. I feel you. Salute body work coach. Yeah. Haney exposed himself by calling Ryan a C-level fighter. Just prove Haney will go after low-hanging fruit as long as they have names. Exactly. You can't somebody, hey, you're a low-level, you're a C-level fighter, you're a drunk, you're a cokehead. Why you want to, that's why I said, why you want to fight him then? Bill Haney was on live today defending P. Diddy and saying Haney being in his pool is his business. Yeah. Let's keep it that business, man. Hopefully that ain't show business, you know what I'm saying? Because we know you don't just go to a Diddy party because you like to swim. You know what I'm saying? You go because you like to get wet. Panda asks about Subriel getting hit a lot. He said that he catches a lot of the punches and on his arms and gloves. A lot of people don't see that. Yeah. I could see that. Ergashev and Palms only landed 18 to 21%. Matias' defense has improved. His style is high guard and stalk you, but I do Matias make defensive moves in the pocket. They saying they working on it. I don't want him to take as much, because I seen him take some punches. It's not as bad as everybody trying to make it seem, but I have seen him take some punches. Then that's really what got me. I'm like, man, if you could hit this man with that, he can survive that for the long haul. I don't like it. But the fact that I know he can deal with that, that's why I know Matias is like a real problem. That's why I know they talking out the side of their neck. It could be all skilled and all this and all that, but it come down to when y'all get in that ring, somebody got to leave. Where the Pitbull and Matias talk. They don't want that smoke with Matias. They don't. Cruz said Devin don't like the fight. Bud admiring he's worked too much. He better get back to work before it's too late. Man, Bud is polarizing, man. I'm not even, I don't even like saying I'm a Bud fan because that sounds like a cop out. I'm not gonna keep saying I'm a fan of somebody. We just gotta recognize bullshit when we recognize bullshit. I shouldn't have to say I'm a fan of yours and this and that just so you can hear what I got to say after that. Like, we know Bud been on some bullshit, man. And no angry fan, no disgruntled historian, nobody like that ain't gonna change shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna change anything. I don't give a fuck how long you've been on YouTube. I don't give a fuck how long you've been talking boxing, how many documentaries. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. That don't mean you know shit about boxing. Most of these people that be commenting on Bud and all that, they don't even know what the fuck is going on. They don't even know. I got a tape. If I got a tape of a dude that was on here defending Bud. I was like, man, okay, you want to be on the show? You want to do this and this and that? You want to do that? I sat down and listened to him, and he didn't know shit about Bud. He was getting more views than me doing videos on Bud. Didn't know shit about Bud, though. That told me a whole lot. Exactly. He's racist. He's racist, though. He's racist. Yep, and dissing the PBC fight card and the $70 and look how good Saturday was. Exactly. We already know facts. By shadow. Exactly. Bodywork, thanks for showing Puerto Ricans love. Irwin Thomas. Hey, it is all day, every day, Irwin. Regardless of what flag it is, what's real is real. Subriel happened to be popping. I gotta give him his just due. I like his people. We all the same people. boat landed in different places. We speak a different language, but we are the same people. Sounds stupid saying it's a Brill Duck Elvis because he was a southpaw, but he just fought Ergashev southpaw and power. Man, fought like 7 southpaws. That's why I say like the shit be utterly ridiculous. Cause I'm like, I don't even know how you. I guess, but you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Some people gonna sell that ass to get that cash. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on Puerto Rican, but it's women and kids. I know. It's an oxymoron. Yeah, I be seeing them. I be seeing them, man. I got some people biting heavy. I'm about to do a documentary on their ass though. Yeah, I'm about to fix them wagons. I'm getting ready to fix that problem, y'all. But that's why I go cold sometimes, because I've realized, man, sometimes when I look at it, and I'm not being vain, trust me. If you hear you family, and I'm talking to you right now. But sometimes I go dark because I realize that I'm feeding people. I realize that when I come out with content, there are people that just come out with the anti to what I'm spitting. And I sit back and I look, and it's like, okay, so when I don't do nothing, what are you on? They go right back to the refried beans. The rigmarole, the same old, the missionary style. Like sometimes you gotta, sometimes it's more than missionary. Sometimes it's from the side, it's from the back. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta remix, but I realize that when I don't go as often, some people don't eat because they don't have no antithesis to what I got going on. And that's not being vain, but I've been watching it long enough to know. It's the truth. Rolly has no skills at all. He only beat taxi cab drivers. Rolly won't ever win a belt again unless the referee would help him to get one like they did when he got one. Bronx OG. That very much may be true. Matias isn't scared of no Edwin. Yeah. Gary turned down a title fight against Alberto Puello when he was a champion. I heard that. Facts, body work. I heard that. What up, body work? How y'all doing? Anubis, salute. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. I believe the spanking will be from Matias. Yep. You can't make this up. That's what I'm saying. I think they moving the tank fight the week after Subriel. I seen that. Tim Corner failed him. Yeah, they did. The corner never asked Tim. They are not the ones inside the ring. Come on, man. Salute, knucklehead. What's the possibility of Haney loses to Garcia? It's a 50-50. It's a 50-50, bro. Ryan said 99% of the stuff that he doing is trolling. I'm not getting confused by the lack of pay-per-view buys and all this. All this stuff was really like best laid plans. Like, so it's a 50-50, man. In the amateurs, they were 6. In the amateurs, they were 3-3. That means when they were at the same age, at the same time, they were pretty much equal. Only Ryan Garcia gave Devin Haney a standing 8 count. Yes, Devin has evolved. He's done different things. But we cannot really negate the fact that Ryan Garcia actually fought Javier Fortuna. You know, Javier Fortuna was somebody that Devin Haney was supposed to fight, but he pulled out with a shoulder injury. We do know that. We do know that Ryan does have a set of skills that you still gonna have to deal with. Devin Haney does not have that imposing style that's gonna actually really make Ryan Garcia like be afraid. What's going to work to Ryan Garcia's disadvantage is if he has to actually chase Devin around the ring, and Devin is able to maneuver and capitalize when Ryan Garcia missed or when he can't cut the ring off the way he's supposed to. That's Devin Haney's game plan. But if Ryan Garcia catch up to Devin Haney with one of them bull whips of a hook on one of them times when Devin think he's escaping and he get caught, it could be an early night. It could be an early night. Pitbull will lose to all 140. Yes, that's how I see it. He'll lose to all of them. All of them. Only the Tszyu. I got Tszyu because I'm thinking, man, if Rolly, because Rolly was catching, even Tank said something about it. Rolly was catching Pitbull with that right hand. He just couldn't come up underneath. Why? Because he couldn't be cognizant of the overhand. So if Rolly was going up under instead of going over and worrying about getting hit, if he was coming up under and then dipping, he would have more success. He didn't do that though. He kept either hitting them straight on, a couple, like once he hit him underneath. I said, man, keep doing the underneath. And he was actually fighting a good game plan. He had happy feet. Rolly had happy feet, man. It's not all about the movie, but it's about the happy feet, the nervous energy in the feet. And it was almost like, man, when his feet, like when he got set and Pitbull Cruz launched it, Rolly couldn't get out of the way of it. And once Pitbull landed, he was gonna keep throwing, and you know what I'm saying, hoping that Rolly would be lax. And he actually went through a series where he actually caught Rolly. The second one landed, the third one landed, the fourth one landed, and Rolly was just like, oh shit, it's over. He caught up to Rolly. Everybody knew that was a possibility. But Rolly actually had a decent game plan. He just had happy feet. Refried beans for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all they do, man. Jose Soto, salute. You know what I'm saying? That's all they do, man. Refried beans. Devin got a set of skills. The problem is just born. He got a set of skills. It's just that we have not seen him against anybody that's evenly matched. Ryan Garcia is the first person that's evenly matched. Height and reach. Ryan actually got an advantage. Speed, power, height. I think Devin got the reach. Who got my name? I don't know. But really what this video was really about was like, man, like we gotta stop the recency bias stuff. We gotta put out a new standard. And we really gotta be true with ourselves when it comes down to what our standard is, man. It's funny, it's odd that we tend to forget the past, man. It's a timeline. It's a record of events. That's why it's important for some of y'all, man, to personally, for you personally, to have a journal. If you don't keep a journal where you can like journal what's going on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and if you don't journal that stuff, 2 weeks will go by and you be like, well, damn, it's been a positive week. But then you don't go back and look at what happened on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you don't really have an accurate assessment of what really happened because you're not going back to what actually happened on Monday and all the problems you had, Tuesday and all the difficulties you had, Wednesday and the success you had, Thursday and the success you had, Friday and all the troubles you had. You make these blanket sweeping statements by the things that happened the most recent, and it will overshadow everything that you actually see, just like the pebble in the eye. Like when you take a pebble, like a problem, a pebble is a problem, put up to your eye, it's going to overshadow everything. When you take and extend your hand and you look back at it from a distance and you compartmentalize, you'll realize that, oh man, it's not, this is just a pebble. That's what's going on right now, man, with this S.I.C Pitbull Cruz shit and this recency bias. And I'm not knocking on S.I.C, but the owner of that belt, of that WBA, is still the weakest link in the division. Period. Subriel Matias is not the weakest. If you want to argue first, okay, cool. You want to argue second, okay, cool. Once you start saying he's third or fourth in the division, like, you're lying, bro. It's a bias. Your skirt is showing. You got an agenda, and something is wrong. And we ain't going. I think if Ryan can catch with the left hook and make things, yeah. He definitely got a shot. He got more than a puncher's chance. This fight is much closer. I just don't like the crying and everything. But I said this video wasn't gonna be long. If you get a chance, please go back and check out my Richardson Hitchens video, The Rise of Richardson Hitchens. That's more, especially in the beginning, that's the work that I used to do. Hopefully it goes along, no copyright strikes and all that. That's fair use. But that's really in the nature, in the line of what I'm accustomed to doing. I got away from it. I'm getting back to it. I'll be doing lives and videos. But please, go check out that video. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Become a member. Keep the lights on here. I don't ask for super chats. If you feel free, give a super chat. Hit the Cash App. You know what I'm saying? It's Arson42 on Cash App. The $ Arson42 on the Cash App. But keep the lights on. Help me be able to go to Puerto Rico to be able to go see the fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get there. I got plans. Yeah, I might be able to make it, but I'm not sure yet. Let me know. For any feedback, comments, anything, if you talk to me, I'll talk back. You already know that. Anyways, thanks for tuning in here at Bodywork Boxing. We don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. It was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Body.